Hey, it's Joel Franklin Kinney. Welcome to my coffee break with JFK podcast. Welcome to my podcast show. Welcome. Hey, it's officially New Year's Eve, 2020. I think a lot of us are pretty excited to get on with our lives. It's so funny because people think like January 2021, like everything's going to change. Everything. COVID will go away. We'll all get our jobs back. The Taliban will start fighting us again. I don't know. It's been a crazy year. There's no question about that. It's caused a lot of people. Well, it's caused people a lot of many things, but it's caused a lot of people that already suffer with depression and loneliness. It really has seemed to accentuate that. I've had a bunch of people reach out to me actually to say, hey, can you kind of talk on that? Yeah, I think I will. I've got some opinions on love and life and all that. And I'm just pulling from my own experience. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm 53 years old. I know that. I kind of, have muddled through life. And I've learned a few lessons. Been in love a couple times. And have had my heart broken. I've had my heart broken far more than I've been in love. Is that like a common denominator? Should I be like worried about that? Is that something I should be thinking about? But you know what? I think that's normal for most people. I mean, you have to realize we're all so alike in so many ways. It's that whole thing about, remember when you'd be all insecure, you'd be in junior high, right? And you think everybody's looking at you. Well, the fact of the matter is everybody that you think is looking at you, guess what they're saying in their mind? Oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me, and they're all insecure. It's true. It's kind of that thing that happens, and it's a little bizarre. It's a little bizarre. But I have to say we're all so much alike, and we need to realize that. And we're all looking for love. I think that's, yeah. It's interesting that we put so much validity on the whole love thing. And it's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been in love. I think most people have had their heart broken more times than they've been in love. And some people never even experienced love. What was the old saying, 1 year of love is better than a lifetime alone. That was on the Magic album by Queen. Just 1 year of love is better than a lifetime alone. Isn't that what Freddie said? That's true. I don't know. My last marriage was pretty amazing. And, it's funny. It's like it gave me a chance to fill that bucket list of being in love and, feeling like it was, complete. What's interesting is, this is so funny to me. You talk to old married couples and ones that are in seemingly good relationships, and there's this funny common thread, especially when they've been when they're like a nurturer, like one of them has been a nurturer and they're always taking care of their partner, even in the good, the great relationships, it's so funny. There's this common thread, like, you know what? When your father, or when Don passes away, I'm not getting married again. Oh God, no. I'm just going to get together with my girlfriends. We're going to go to Vegas. We're just going to drink all the time. Forget that. Yeah, I think it's true with guys too. Sometimes they're like, no, I'm good. Love your mother, but oh my God. And it's so funny because it all comes down to perspective. And their perspective has been, yeah, been there, done that. That was good. But, I got the t-shirt now. Is it really worth the hassle to go back and, I think that's the big question, because it all does boil down to a perspective. And so here's my point. The people that have had it, their perspective is, I'm good. If it's, when they've really had, like, especially like those 35, 40-year marriages, if it's, and it's crazy because the ones that were really, it seems like the ones that were really fulfilling are the ones that they're kind of don't want to get a do-over. They kind of just want to hang out with somebody, maybe go to Vegas every once in a while, fishing trip, camping trip. I don't know. But the ones where there was turmoil, where there was no romance, there was no love, there was no mutual respect. It was like they were just existing. It seems to me, and I'm no counselor, but it seems to me, I think the key is you got to pay attention. I look around and I notice that the ones that get out of those kind of lifelong marriages, like if someone passes, their spouse passes away, or for whatever reason, after 70 years of marriage, one just decides to run off. It's funny because they want to start up new relationships. And I think that's because there was unfinished business. Yeah. You want to feel it, right? Again, perspective. Now, then there's the other side of it. And those are the people that have never been married or never really had that one love or love affair or that great experience, or even just like the, not a weekend at Bernie's, but, it's like a, summer affair or whatever. And, we all know those people. I have many dear friends that are, they're lonely. They haven't experienced it. And it's tough because you feel badly for them. But it's that classic, be careful what you wish for, George Bailey. Because whatever's on the other side, the grass is always greener. And again, perspective. You're on one side of the fence. It looks really great on the other side, but when you get but the person on the other side is going, gosh, I really would love to jump in my neighbor's pool that I'm looking at yeah, but then you got to clean the pool. Then when dad gets the bill for the electrical, he gets the electric bill, how much it costs to heat the pool, and then the water, it's, again, perspective. So let's move into another angle of it. So that whole point with that perspective thing and somebody wanting something they can't have, and the people that have had what they had decide to, I'm good. I'm good. There's this passionate thing that we have where we want to be loved. We want to feel loved. We want to feel cherished and whole and complete. And the one thing I just want to suggest, the one thing I just want to say is somebody else doesn't define you. So many of us get lonely, and I have to say, I've not been lonely in a long, long time. And I think part of it is just being at peace with just where I'm at, wherever I'm at. I know also my perspective has been, my perspective has also been, I did have love, and I loved it, and it was great. But now that I'm on the other end, it's a lot of work to maintain that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have friends that were built to be in marriages, built to be in relationships, and other friends that love their independence. The idea of being with somebody else it's a lot of work. And then sometimes they just feel so completely lost if they don't have somebody there. I want to talk to those of you who feel like you can't live your life without somebody in it. And say you're lonely, say you're single, and you're just dying inside. Well, I have good news. You gotta love yourself first. If you learn how to do that, you silence that noise, and you'll be more fulfilled. I promise you. There's no real big science to it, but it's tough if you walk around all the time feeling really unlovable. You're always kind of looking over your shoulder, for somebody to come love you, to fulfill you and make you whole and complete. Well, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to find it if you stay in that. You truly have to exude joy. I had this interesting experience when I was single. I was I was freshly single. Oh, maybe 6 months or so. This is between my. This is years ago. This is about 2006, I think. And like everybody else, it's like, what do I say? What do I say to her? God, I just see this girl sitting there. You're like, oh, and then you go up and you think about it all in your head, and then you just fall all over yourself, and you come across like an idiot, you know. But I have to say, it's like one day I was sitting there, and I was in this restaurant, and I these girls, just two girls sitting there, and I was kind of said to myself, I'm like, I'm gonna walk up to these girls, and I'm gonna talk to them, but I'm gonna kind of reinvent myself, and I don't mean being fake. I just mean I'm gonna get out of my own head, and I'm just going to really just be myself. Don't get in my head. Don't think about what I'm going to say. Not be preemptive in any way, shape, or form. Just walk up and kind of act like you don't care, but not in a dick kind of a way, but in a way that is, I don't know. It's interesting. All right, so I go up. I just chat them up, and it's amazing the difference when I didn't show any desperation or need to have their affirmation. They completely responded and they lit up. I mean, I think the fact of the matter is, beef can smell fear. Women can smell fear of the guy that walks up who's unsure, doesn't know what he's going to say. Women can smell fear. And guys see that whole desperation thing too. And it's not a good look. It's just not. What does that boil down to? Confidence. People want to be around somebody who's confident. So if I can digress here, when you're okay with where you're at, and you're okay with being single, and let's talk about being single. We're talking about being single. If you're okay with where you're at, completely okay and happy with it, fulfilled, satisfied, you know what, I'm good. Whatever happens, happens. It's amazing how people gravitate to that. It makes all the difference in the world. Marginally attractive guys like me can even find a date occasionally. It's interesting how that works. You've heard the old adage, fitting a square peg in a round hole. Charging into the lion's den when you're completely unsure, nervous, pits are sweating, you don't know your hands are, that you're not going to get anywhere. But you have to realize, would you want to date someone like that was all nervous, and would that be attractive to you? I'm not saying put on some sort of an act or anything like that. It all boils down to loving yourself and having self-respect and knowing your worth and knowing your value. And guess what? Every single one of you, all of you, every single one of you has value and has worth. There's nothing wrong with any of you. Nothing. Look, we've all seen these couples that are like these gorgeous power couples, right? And then we've all seen these couples that they err on the not very attractive side, but they're in love and they're happy. There's nothing wrong with them. They love each other. There's a connection because there was a connection. For some reason, there was a connection. So those of you who get down on your physical appearance or whatever, look, we could all lose a couple pounds, right? Let's be honest. But if you've got a really good heart and you love that heart and you know who you are, you're going to be just fine. And you're going to be attractive to somebody. Yeah, it's true. And if you're having a hard time loving yourself, if you're having the boys are going to bark their heads off here. Somebody's blowing off fireworks. If you're having a hard time loving yourself, You really have to ask. You really have to ask yourself a question. You really have to go, maybe I need some counseling to be able to unpack that stuff. Why is it that you don't love yourself? Why is it that you don't see the value in you? I'd get into therapy immediately. I think it's important because everybody has value. Everybody is amazing. Let's talk about how your animal views you. Here's some more perspective. You're sitting there, say you're alone, single, sad, lonely, but all you have is a pet, dog, cat, but they adore you. They love you. Guess what? That creature sees you as perfect, flawless. There's nothing wrong with you. It's a living, breathing thing. Well, that's because you are. You are awesome. You're beautiful and amazing, and if you can, and you're probably loving to that creature, unless you're a horrible human being, then you don't deserve love. But you're lovable. And if that creature can love you, then you can love you. That's really, really important. I'm telling you right now, this whole COVID thing, it's got the lonely really lonely. If you want to not be lonely, you want to meet people, even just meeting people, you gotta love yourself. And if you don't love yourself, or you have a hard time seeing any value in yourself, then you gotta unpack what that is, and you gotta change that. And you can make excuses all day long. You can just like bury your feeling, but you know what? You have nobody to blame but you if you're still lonely and still moping around. Especially if you're not willing to do the work. You gotta do the work to fix yourself. And by fixing yourself, I mean making it so you see the value in you, not, and men, we're all sorts of broken on so many other levels. Part of that is becoming a good listener, being socially acceptable, stop being a monkey that throws poop at people. Because, there's some personality types that do that for sure. But I'm really kind of talking especially to the people who are single and lonely and willing and open and available, and their hearts are open, and they want to love deeply. This is really who this conversation is toward. This is really who this discussion is about. There's a lot of love out there. I can just say personally, it's like I try to get as much out of my friendships as I possibly can. Feel them as deep as I can. And a lot of you who are single, you've got grandchildren, you've got children that just absolutely adore you and see the value in you. You got to realize sometimes that's enough, because that's still love. And take that stuff and project that love back onto you, and realize, you know what, they don't just love me because I bring them McDonald's every once in a while or take them to OMSI. They love me because, well, I love them and I'm good to them. And it's that whole circle. That's what I'm saying. It's all about perspective. But back to that whole perspective thing of like, people, wanting love, that don't have it. And then those who have had it, been in these long-term relationships, and they're like, oh my gosh, what I would just give for one weekend and not have to like pick up somebody's stinky socks. It's all about perspective. But it starts with, if you're single, you're looking for love, you're looking to not be sad, especially around the holidays, it starts with you. You gotta love you. You gotta do that first, and that's where it starts. So surround yourself with people who aren't toxic, who love and adore you and build you up. If there's people that you're around that build you, that break you down, get rid of those people in your life. They'll do nothing for you. You certainly won't find love. Can you guys hear Bubba panting? Oh, Bubba. He's sitting here. He's got his head on my lap. There's fireworks blasting off right now. Well, that was just it. I just want to give the lonely. Only the lonely can play. Is that the song? I just want to give the lonely and the sad and the single a pep talk. It's really what tonight was about. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Hey, if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments section. And please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to build this thing. I'll get better and better and better. Wolfie's going to bark his head off here any second because he wants out, I'm sure. But listen, you know, love yourself first. It's really important. And, when I learned how to do that and figure that out, boy, it just made life a whole lot easier. You guys have a great night. Subscribe to my channel. And you've been listening to Coffee Break with JFK podcast. I'm Joel Franklin Kinney, your host. You have a great night. Oh, yeah, and Happy New Year.